So I want to talk a little bit about cold calls. How many of you have done over 500 cold calls in your life? All right. How many of you have done over 1,000?
Yep.
That is pretty impressive. Okay. So this will be a pretty easy session for you. What I want to talk about today is what does it mean to do a cold call here at GitLab? What are some of the things that we are looking for in a cold call? And really, that's about it. So, all right. So the basic ingredients of what we're looking for in a cold call, it's kind of like one of those things where you have to be able to read the situation. Not everything is required, but there are best practices. So the first best practice that we're talking about is this thing called a pattern interrupt. So I just want you to imagine a situation. And how many of you go to REI, like REI retailers? A little bit. Okay. But y'all know what REI is, right? The brand.
Yes.
All right. So REI is an outdoor store. It sells a lot of like camping, hiking stuff. And I just want you to imagine this situation. All right. So you're going to okay. Well, I don't know what that rest of that is, but you're going to REI, this store. You have to because you need to return an item. And right in front of this store, you see two people and they have clipboards. Looks like they're looks like maybe Greenpeace. It looks like everyone who's coming in and out, they're asking, sounds like they're trying to probably like like a fundraising thing, something like that. So, you need to go to REI. There's only one entrance. You're still 100 feet off from them. You haven't locked eye contact. So my question is, you see these people, you're not engaged yet. How does that make you feel from an emotional standpoint, knowing that there are these Greenpeace people in front of you? Like, how does that impact your emotions?
I will literally go to a different entrance or try to figure out a way to like avoid them or put in headphones or something.
Is that and is that because it makes you feel annoyed, makes you anxious, makes you like, how does that impact?
Makes me like anxious and like, yes, makes me anxious at the thought I have to speak to somebody that I may not want to speak to. So yes, anxious.
Anxious. All right. Who else? Alex, how's it make you feel knowing that there are these people in front of the store?
Oh, I hate it a lot.
Hate, like anger, right?
Yes.
All right. So here's something that's kind of interesting. It's just seeing these people has triggered a response in us. Is that a conscious decision that we've made to get angry or to get afraid? Or is it something that's subconscious? Like it happens almost automatically for us.
Probably automatically.
It happens automatically, right? And this is really, really important for us. And it's last question that I have. So given that every single person that's passing by them, they already have this negative emotional state going in, these Greenpeace people, do they have a higher or lower conversion rate considering they've created this subconscious reaction in people?
Lower.
Lower, right? So here's the thing about sales. The thing about sales is that human beings are creatures of habit. They have all sorts of subconscious reactions to things. When we cold call people, it's important for us to realize that we've actually triggered a subconscious reaction for them to get angry and hang up on us. All right. It's just human nature. It's not our fault. It's not their fault. That's just how human beings think. All right. So there was this one story, and it was a #1 salesperson in I forget which San Francisco tech company, but really famous salesperson. And he was doing his cold calls, November, Christmas time frame coming up. And he actually got the flu. And what he realized was, he'd call someone and ring, ring, hello. Excuse me, sorry. You okay? Sorry, can I get some water? Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Is that everything all right? Yeah, yeah. Sorry, I just really just getting like probably something might have the flu or something, but yeah, I mean the reason why I'm reaching out is because I was working with some of your competitors on saving them money in terms of DevOps. Was wondering if you'd be interested in having a similar conversation, right? What he found out was that his conversion rate actually went up like double what it regularly was, even though he did something that he completely did not expect. And the reason why is because it broke that subconscious reaction of making people angry. It flipped it into one of empathy and care, right? So what we're saying with this is we don't want to be like lying and coughing into the phone all the time, but we do want to think about the fact that we are subconsciously creating a reaction in people and being creative about how do we be non-traditional so that we are breaking through that pattern and getting a different response. So this is the idea of opening your call with a pattern interrupt. All right. So to sort of summarize, being non-traditional in a way so that you break this pattern. So there's a bunch of different pattern interrupts. You can literally just look up many different ways of doing this. And here's the challenge that we have for you. Have a pattern interrupt every cold call. Number two, some of these are going to feel kind of gimmicky for you. But what we really want you to do is to try these until you find one that you really feel like you can do authentically, right? It's really important for it to feel like the shoe fits with you. So some of the pattern interrupts, hey, cold, like ring, ring. Hey, this is Chris. It's a cold call. Do you want to hang up? It's kind of weird, but no, what do you have to say? 23 seconds. Okay, boom. I just now got the next phase, right? So there's many different ways of doing this. All right. Number two is this optional thing. It's called elephant in the room. This is a Beck Holland thing. And sometimes you'll get, hey, 23 seconds. And it's this thing where it's like, hey, is this Chris? Yeah. Hi, this is Vera from GitLab. Just wondering if you have any needs regarding DevOps or CI/CD. Who is this? You know, and it's like one of those calls where you can tell like it's almost like you are the emotional landscape is negative, right? And so here's basically what happens when you have one of these people that they really don't want to talk to you, you know that they don't want to talk to you. If you don't reset the emotional landscape, you're not going to get the next step. So somehow you need to come in and find a way to reset the emotional landscape. One way that you can do that is by addressing it head on. So you have this cold call. It's like, yeah, hey, you know what? I don't like being cold called either. So how about this? The reason why I'm reaching out is because I'm trying to save people money. And the reason how we do this is because we actually consolidate a bunch of your software tools. Love to have a conversation with you about how we can save you time and money. Working with a bunch of your competitors as well. So like, that's the reason why I'm reaching out. How's that sound? Right. So it's like addressing the negativity head on. Hey, I understand that I don't like being cold called either. Right. And then just addressing that head on to reset the emotional landscape. Other things that you can say is like, hey, I know I'm interrupting you and that you're busy. So how about this? I'd love to maximize your time. 23 seconds so that I can share about what I have to offer. If not, hang up. Sounds good? Okay. So everyone understand elephant in the room. It's addressing the negativity head on to try to reset the emotional landscape so that you can get the next step.
Yep.
All right, cool. All right, so the next thing we already did, upfront contract. And this is one of the things that people do wrong the most, but if you optimize for this, you will have a 15-20% higher conversion rate. So most people say something like, hey, do you have 5 minutes to go talk about X? Do you have 32 seconds to talk about X? Do you have 41 seconds to talk about X? What we really want to do is to make it about them. We don't want to just take the entire time. All right. So it's an upfront contract. The difference is do you have 31 seconds so that I can share with you about benefit? So it's exchange. I want your time to give you potentially this benefit, right? What a lot of people do is they say, hey, do you have 5 minutes to talk about DevOps? That's just, can I have your time? Do you have 31 seconds to talk about your CAC? Take, right? So what we really want to do is have an upfront contract. It's exchange of time for value, and we want to make it about them. Do you have 31 seconds so that I can share with you about how I can save you money and make your software development more efficient? All right. Some people try to get cute about like, hey, do you have 31 seconds? Do you have 47 seconds? I actually think that will help you out your conversion rate, probably not in a big way. Don't ask for 5 minutes though. All right. So bare minimum, max like 1 minute. Alex, do you have a question?
No.
Okay, cool. All right. So next one, elevator pitch. Have one. On Google, you can type in GitLab elevator pitch. There are many different ones. I use a couple of different ones. I use one for technical people and a different one for director level and above. The main one that I use is GitLab is a consolidated platform for software development delivery. This means we try to do everything that GitHub, Jenkins, Jira, and CentreCube does all under a single user interface, right? So find an elevator pitch, practice it, make it confident in less than 10 seconds. All right, so next thing I want to talk about is qualification. In a cold call, you're probably not qualifying. You're probably just trying to get the meeting and get out. Sometimes you'll meet someone on a good day and you can actually do some qualification. And I just want to talk about qualification real quick. So right now in sales dev, we get paid out on opportunities. So to create an opportunity object in Salesforce, there are a bunch of fields that you have to fill out. So if we don't have this information, we can't create the opportunity. And so it's so it's important for us to get this information so that we can create the opportunity, right? So basically these fields are about like, it's for sales, and in general, what it is initiative. What are they trying to do? We're trying to improve our CI/CD by the end of February. Okay, great. Initiative notes. So Google Doc, if you want to do something like that, any additional information you have. Current DevOps or SDLC tools. Role prospect plays an evaluation. Hey, he's the influencer. He's the champion. He's the buyer. And expected entry point use case. Hey, really the main thing you're looking for right now is CI/CD. Okay. And then the last thing is potential seats for opportunity. This is probably one of the ones that sales cares about the most because they are going to be ranked their opportunities with respect to how much it moves the dial for them. So that's just something that's important to take into consideration. So long story short, qualification criteria, it's needed to create an opportunity in Salesforce. This is what we get paid out for. These are the current fields. They change from time to time. The other thing that I want to say is that your team may have extra stuff on top of that. So there are some regions where, yes, these are the fields in Salesforce, but we actually require additional information. You put it in, one of these fields over here. Okay. So go talk to your manager about what your actual qualification criteria is, because it's a little bit like Ameri does something different than EMEA right now type of situation. Okay.
I have a quick question about the IQM notes. I noticed it's a Google Doc here. Is that a Google Doc that already has populated prompts for us to fill out, or are those something that we should fill out ourselves?
Yes. So it depends on your team. There are some teams where there's a template and every IQM go fill it out and then just put it in here type of thing.
Okay.
Thank you, Vera. The last thing that I want to say is you don't actually need to go through all of these questions on the call itself, because in Zoom Info and some of our other tools, you can find out some of this information. So current DevOps or SDLC tools, we have some customer database tools where we actually know this information already. All right. Awesome. All right. So the last part of this call to action, make it short, cut, concise, clear. Hey, like I felt like we had a good conversation so far. I know we've already been talking a minute and a half. I want to respect your schedule. So would you be interested in continuing this conversation with one of our solutions engineers? We could target sometime later this week, 25-minute conversation. And then we'll discuss more about DevSecOps. How's that sound? Right, something like that. So here's some things about that. Please confirm their email. What happens from time to time that I see a lot of people do is they finally get that good conversation. This actually happened to one of my team members, and they forget the email. And then guess what? The person says yes to the meeting. He's trying to create the email, and then the person ignores him, and then he doesn't get the opportunity, right? The opportunity is lost. So make sure, hey, just trying to confirm your email real quick. Is it aaiken@redhat.com? It is? Okay, great. Another thing that I want to talk about, you're going to get asked a lot of technical questions here, especially depending on who you're talking to. So you might get a conversation and it's like, oh, I've heard of GitLab before. I was trying to install it, but I had problems attaching the NFS storage mounts. So I was just wondering if you got that resolved. Like I had trouble with the Kubernetes cluster storage attach, right? And one thing that you can do is you can say, hey, full transparency, I'm on the marketing team. I'd love to get you an answer for that though. How about this? I set up some time with you and one of our solutions engineers, and then we can see how we can discuss that further, right? If it's a really good follow-up meeting, you might actually get paid out for that, right? So here's the trick with this. This is very, very, very important to understand. Make sure that you understand the availability of your essays. Some essays want to go on every meeting. Some are overscheduled and they're packed out, and they're going to get really mad if you do this. So when you connect with sales, please make sure that you understand the criteria for essay engagement, and they can help you to navigate that. Okay. Any thoughts on anything that I shared so far? Great. Okay, so other things I want to talk about. You can stall for time in technical conversations. So, hey, yeah, so I understand about that Kubernetes storage mount. Tell me more about that. How does that impact you? Oh, okay. And then you can say like, hey, tell me more. Why do you think that's happening? So you can stall for time. The other thing is if they ask for an answer, the best way to get a quick resolution for this is with this questions channel. So over here, you can see questions. So this is a salesperson. This is SDR. This is a SDR. But all this is like, is it possible to integrate security and compliance features of GitLab with Azure pipelines? All right. Question from customer. I was able to set up GitLab pages. However, how does this work with GitLab 15.6.1? And then people like answer these questions. So this is probably the fastest way that you'll get an answer for a technical question. So please make sure you bookmark the questions channel. Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about is trap setting questions. In your cold calls, you went through all these steps. Sometimes though, the question is like, how do you create more demand, right? And this is the concept of a trap setting question. So I'll just demonstrate it for you. Hey, Alex, I'll just use Alex as an example because Alex is right here. But hey, Alex, do you like your Honda?
Love it.
Okay, I'm gonna try to be Alex too, if that's.
I'm Alex.
Okay, I'll use Matt. Hey Matt, thank you, Alex. But hey Matt, do you like your Honda? Yeah, it's great. Okay, cool. Do you get excited when you pick up someone from the airport in your Honda? I never really thought about that, but it is what it is. It's not really. Yeah. How old's your Honda? Yeah, it's I think it's a '09, '09 Accord. Okay, cool. Are you aware that the newer models they actually get way better gas mileage and they have like they're way easier to drive because they have better cruise control. I guess I never thought about that before. Yeah, so what a trap setting question is you're asking questions that create urgency. And so the trick is learning these trap setting questions for GitLab. So perfect example is Jenkins. So you use Jenkins. How do you like Jenkins? It's all right. Most people actually don't like Jenkins. So it's a really easy one to target. Like we've been using it for 3 and 4 years and we're pretty invested in the platform. That's going to be your response 90% of the time. Okay, that's great. Totally understand that. How do you have any reliability issues with Jenkins? Well, yeah, I mean, sometimes our pipelines don't work. We have issues where our builds fail too. But I mean, like I said, we're pretty invested in Jenkins. It's a tool that we've been using for the last 3 to 4 years. Yeah, totally understand that. So how much time do you spend maintaining and updating your Jenkins? Just, maybe on a monthly basis? Yeah, honestly speaking, we have someone who works full-time on that. He probably spends 20% of his time on Jenkins. So at a monthly rate, that's 80 hours per month. Okay, well, how would that impact your projects if you didn't have to spend 80 engineer hours per month on maintaining your platform because you actually had one that worked reliably? So it's just like trap setting questions, you see. So it's a question that creates urgency. Okay, where to learn from? Go ahead. Yep.
Do you want to finish this and I can tell you my question after this section?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
All right, awesome. So this is what I would say. What I would say is do a lot of mock calls, and I'm gonna be fully transparent with y'all. You know how like every once in a while you're around some people that are really into sport. They're like, who's the best quarterback ever? Oh, it's Tom Brady. Tom Brady has the best APR and YPG and touchdowns per carry and all this other stuff. And if you say something that doesn't make sense, like what I just said, you just seem like an imposter. So tech is one of those things where if you say things wrong or if you mispronounce them, then you seem like an imposter and then your conversion rate plummets. So it's really, really, really important to do a bunch of mock calls here, especially early on, because there's like getting the messaging. You're learning an entire new industry, field, product that's very nuanced. It's not like one of those things that it's like we can get it 50% right. So long story short, please make sure you're doing a bunch of mock calls. Please make sure you're getting honest, constructive feedback, and then try to treat it as a challenge. All right. So these next 2 mock calls that we have coming up, yeah, we're going to learn a lot more together. All right.